Poppy Playtime, since its launch in 2021, was regarded as one of the most controversial mascot horror games of the new decade because of its early drama regarding NFTs, the 8-car coaster drama, and the rumors of the game being made for the sole purpose of selling merchandise. But that's not what we'll be focusing on today, as one of the biggest improvements of the entire franchise just happened very recently. The third chapter of Poppy Playtime was released. Since the third chapter just released, I wanted to share my opinions on it with a video. So I'll start with the story, or at least the basic plot. Obviously, this video is gonna contain a bunch of spoilers for the new chapter, so spoiler warning. Before starting, I wanted to ask you to please like this video and subscribe, as I just started this channel and I would really appreciate your support. With that said, enjoy! The game starts with a mysterious figure, which we discover later is Catnap, the main antagonist of the chapter and the last of the smiling critters, dragging the player into a trash compact. The monster throws us into it and we escape, luckily. Resolving a couple puzzles, getting to know a new character, Ollie, who is definitely not the prototype, wink wink nudge nudge. We finally arrive at the playground, a massive orphanage on which most of the time the game will take place on. We get a key from Ollie and we enter a door that leads us to the generator of the red smoke that will be hunting us during the game. Someone shuts the power down and we take our way to Home Sweet Home, another part of the playcare, to turn the power on again. As the player enters Home Sweet Home, the red smoke covers them and makes them enter a state of a nightmare where they discover more of the lore of the game. The player then finds a gas mask that will be used during the game to avoid the red smoke. After solving a bunch of puzzles and listening to some goofy voice lines from the smiling critter, the player gets out of the Home Sweet Home and it's attacked by Kissimisi. Fortunately, Poppy saves us by stopping kissing.
They didn't do anything wrong! We're actually here to help.
The little doll tells us that she still needs us to defeat the prototype. Then Ollie guides us into the school where we meet a new character, Miss Delight. I'm gonna pause for a bit here to say what a great design she has. I love how she isn't a really childish-esque character and instead has her face literally torn apart and we can see her flesh. This character really shows us how dark this chapter is compared to the last two. We get a real cool and very hard chase sequence with Miss Delight being a sort of weeping angel character. I like this section because of the amount of difficulty it brings having to fend off Miss Delight while having to solve a complex puzzle. After completing that specific puzzle, the player escapes her and subsequently kills her by shutting a door directly on top of her. We then go to the playhouse where the little goober smiling critter resides. Just look at them, they're so silly and cute. But be careful, they might get a little bit silly and chomp your head off. Anyways, we defend against them by using the flare gun that we previously acquired. After solving all of these puzzles and defending against the little goobers, we get to a cutscene of sorts where we see Duck Day, the last of the big smiling critters. I don't really know how to call them, so take a speak to. We see him cut in half and tied to chains on a wall. Duck Day says to us to escape the building. As he talks, he's filled with the silly little goobers from before.
Leave me! Please! Just go! Run!
And that's why we don't get too close. A chase sequence begins, with the Duck Day crawling behind us and being controlled by the little critter. This part is essentially the first Huggy Wuggy chase, but a tad bit more complex. We block Dogday's path and escape successfully. After completing little more puzzles again, I bet you can't count how many times I'd said the word puzzle. We're directed to a scene depicting the Hour of Joy. Honestly, the concept of this scene is pretty dark and scary, but it made me laugh while watching it as I was playing the game with low graphics and seeing Huggy Wuggy fade while he's standing and all pixelated at 250 AM really broke me. Continuing the story. Then player goes to the playcare and at the generators a really cool scene with Nightmare Catnap starts. By luck, we go into an elevator and escape the monster. Now the final boss fight against Catnap begins. This final fight is very similar to the one on Security Breach, but to be honest, this one is well done, and we actually have to defend against the antagonist. After all of that ordeal, a cutscene triggers and Catnap attacks us. We electrocute him with the green hand of the grab type. He falls. He tries to use the red smoke on us, but fails and subsequently turns on fire. At the ventilation on top of the ceiling, the hand of the prototype appears. The cat monster kneels before it, and it's killed by the hand. The prototype drags his corpse away, presumably to make Catnap a part of itself. We then go down the same elevator. We redirect all of the red smoke out of the playcare, and once again we meet Poppy. This time, she has a reward for us after doing all of the hard work, and she finally reveals us the truth of what happened that day, 10 years ago.
Just like I knew you would. Catnap's gone. The red smoke is diverted. Everything is falling into place, thanks to you. But if we're to keep going, then you deserve to have the truth. You came back because of your co-workers. You want to know what happened, and why. This is your answer. We called it the Hour of Joy.
Then, Player and Poppy get down on a platform and Kissy Missy pulls a lever to start going down. When Kissy Missy stays up and it's completely out of sight, she's presumably attacked by the prototype and she starts screaming. Poppy desperately tries to rise the platform and maybe try to help Kissy, but the ceiling closes and we're sent into a black screen, thus ending the chapter. To be completely honest, this plot was a lot more darker than the last two games. A twist that left me completely satisfied and left me with a good impression of the game. I never liked the second chapter of the game, since it was basically more character for more merit. Its plot wasn't so fleshed out, and it didn't give many clues of the lore surrounding the game, and the first chapter was basically a tech demo. But with this one, my liking towards the game has appeared. I think it's really cool how they implemented the gas, or the red smoke as they call it. The sequences that occur while inhaling the smoke are really unique and very creative, especially the depiction of the Hour of Joy. Yes, there are loose ends, like where the red smoke comes from and how did they make it, and what really happened to Elliot Ludwig's son. But I'm pretty sure that will be solved in future chapters. Now onto the graphic department. Above all, this chapter looks amazing. Even on the lowest graphical options, it still looks pretty good. The optimization is so much better than the last two chapters, and it surprisingly goes very smoothly. Not much to say here besides what's already said. This section is very short, so I'd like to add the character design department right here. The design of all of the characters fits so well in the game, and I'm surprised that they managed to keep that Torii-esque design and didn't mess up the darkness of the game. Catnap's design, albeit basic, really works to give you some spooks on the section of the nightmare. All of the smiling critters have a real cute design and serve as toys from the late 90s. And God, what an amazing design this Delight has, but I've already said that. Summing up all of that, the game really improved its graphics and character designs. I like that very much. Now onto the sound design. The music on this game is really good, either on calm moments or intense ones. On each chase sequence, the game always had me on the border of my chair. Honestly, I haven't been scared of a mascot horror game for years now. But this game didn't make me feel like that. Some of the moments on Home Sweet Home, for example, all of that just feels like a real nightmare that could happen to me at least. And I think that the ambience and sounds contribute to that. Also, the voice acting is phenomenal. All of the voices of the characters are so good. One thing I don't really like very much about the sound design is how the game relies so much on loud noises that are supposed to scare the player, but instead it turns into an earring. But with that aside, the sounds, voice acting, and music of this chapter, while having some flaws, still are incredible. Miscellaneous things I forgot to say. This chapter is longer than the other two combined, lasting just about 4 hours on a casual walkthrough of the game, which is good and bad in some ways. The game is longer, thing that I appreciate and really like, but with this length comes more puzzles. After completing these puzzles and the game itself, my brain was fried, but it had a good payoff. The grab pack was so much better to use now, with extended capability and even adding new mechanics with 2 hands. The purple hand that served as a kind of rocket jump on certain platforms, and the flare gun hand that, as its name says, is basically a flare gun. These pair of new hands are really fun to use and are refreshing new additions to the grab pack. There are so much more VHS tapes in this chapter, and I like that. So many parts of the rollout reveal, and listening to the amazing voice acting mixed with the really good writing of the dialogue is a treat. I really like that one where Catnap speaks to the scientific. Bobby Playtime Chapter 3 was a refreshing experience and was really fun to go through. Sure, this chapter wasn't flawless, it still has its fair amount of bugs and things that could make the playing experience a bit messy. Taking all of the good points, it was a really enjoyable game with new mechanics, excellent sound department, and a really good look. Congratulations to the Muff Games team for making this incredible chapter and really surpassing themselves. Thanks for staying until the end of this video. This may not be the best I make or one with the best script, but I really put some effort into it, so I would really appreciate your support. So with that said, I've been Torii, and have a terrific night. Bye!